So I was sitting here, and that was going through my mind. I need to kind of get this energy back in this room. And I had the idea to start by singing something. And it went through my mind like, I can do the French national anthem or the anthem from the Lion King. Turns out it's not raining, so you don't want me to sing. So we're just going to go and get into the presentation straight away. Yesterday, I was here, and we talked about one thing, which was leadership as a hard criteria for investment. I don't know how many of you were here yesterday, but inherently, I gave you two stories. First one was I had an epiphany, being a CFO and turning to being more interested in human capital. And I want to give you the end of the story because this epiphany actually changed my career, and Jamie is not here, but a woman can actually write and work for the Financial Times because even if they're hard and we're soft, we can actually deliver some good products for them. After my BHP Billiton experience, I was actually approached by the FT to write this book about how to lead effectively and get results. So from numbers to going and finding and helping the people behind the numbers to be where they are. Yesterday, I think I said, numbers are only as good as the people behind them. And there is one person in this room that has been a massive source of inspiration. And I'd like us to give this person a round of applause, and it's Vivina. Because Vivina has repeatedly said, it's all about the people. It's all about the people. And coming from a person who works in funds of funds, I found this amazingly inspiring because not only she is not one step, but 2 or even 3 steps away of the reality of the people on the ground, and still she cares. So if anybody has any need for a role model when it comes to leadership and investment, please get in touch with Vivina because I'm sure she'll be great. And plus, again, she's a woman, so you know. So yesterday I talked about what? Bottom line, one thing. An equation, because we finance people do like number. Good leadership equals good business. Simple as that. Good leadership equals good business. So inherently you're going to ask me, so Marianne, help us define what is good leadership. Right? Yes, come on. Thank you. And I'm going to say, we can't. We can't define leadership. And this is what is in this book, because in my mind, in my profound belief, there is one truth. Leadership is just like anything else, a product of the environment. The environment changes. People that are making this environment change. So it is very, very difficult to define good leadership. You can define good business. We finance people are very good at that. The numbers, the growth, the IRR, everything, you name it. But you can't define good leadership. So what are you left to do? Because at the end of the day, you invest in people. You, private equity, sovereign wealth fund, or pension fund, even more than anybody else, because to some extent, in a weird way, you're participating into the value creation of any economy, from microfinance to angel investing to acquisition, what have you. And then, at the end of the day, again, it's about who you back. And for that, there's almost a universal makeup of who to back. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the coming 5 minutes. The first thing, which is pretty universal, is do they have the capacity to observe and adjust? The world is changing very fast. And if I'm an investor, I want to make sure that the business I'm putting money in will be here tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. And that is inherently ingrained in their ability to observe and adjust. So let me give you a couple of examples. The first one, I personally invested in a company called ProFinder. And what this company does, and don't laugh, it's actually, it's very funny even now, and I invested twice with them. It's the Match.com for corporation. So what they have invented is a software that matches the competence needed in a specific project to the people that are displaying those skill set, competencies, or even the relationship or the networking with those people there, with the needed people on the other side. And Roger is the founder, came to me when we were looking into investing in the company, and he described to me what were their go-to-market strategy. And it was about mainly alumni association of Ernst & Young type of company or PwC, et cetera. And I'm like, oh, yeah, great, interesting. So we gave him a bit of money. And then literally 6 months down the line, he realized that he was not making those sales. He was not actually reaching those people he thought was his primary market. And he realized as well that the big corporation that had more an R&D or a professional services flavor were actually much more interested in getting to see him. So in the short span of 6 months, he changed completely the strategy, had designed a completely new go-to-market strategy, and made some money. Now we're in Series A, so we're very happy. So maybe one day I'll retire because of this investment. He observed and he adjusted to make sure that the business was sustainable. So some of you are going to say, well, it's easy, it's a startup, yada, yada, yada. So let me give you another example. And I want to talk about Shell Aviation very quickly, which is very interesting because Mark put some great numbers on the airline's potential in Africa. And when I was the CFO of Shell Aviation, we completely divested from Africa because we didn't see the potential. Clearly, we didn't observe and adjust quick enough because now Total has completely taken over this part of the world from an aviation perspective. So the example I was going to give before giving you the little interlude was in 2008, I was the CFO of Shell Aviation and Lehman Brothers collapsed. Obviously, we in Shell Aviation, we are the people giving the fuel to the plane. So really not very, very far away from financial institution, private banking, and all that. One side could have said, well, it doesn't really matter. We, and in finance, what we did was like, oh my God, there's a counterparty risk here. All those airlines who are our customers, who are buying our fuels, have to some extent some project finance activity, which means what's the counterparty? What are their counterparty banks, and are they safe or are not they safe? And for the one we decided they were not safe, we immediately reach out to our customer and say, you know what, we're going to completely change the credit terms with you and put you on watch list or whatever to make sure if something goes wrong on this side, we are not affected. That's observe and adjust. So you're going to say, well, it's great, but how? How do you assess the capacity to observe and adjust in leadership? And I'll tell you 3 things. There's a number 3 theme coming all the way through my presentations because I am French, and that's the way we taught. You only have 3 things. So 3 things. The first one is how can you question what they know, how they keep track of the environment? Do they read the Financial Times every morning? Do they read any type of publication relevant to their industry every morning? You can ask them what they see the immediate risk in their industry, or in 5 years or in 6 years could be, and what type of contingency plan they have. You can ask them what type of market intelligence capacity or capability you have in your investment. Do you have people, what Richard Branson called his little handbook? Do you have people going around and getting the market, the intelligence wherever they can find it? This is a way to actually assess their capacity to observe. And to adjust, ask about the decision-making process. Ask about how diluted the decision-making process is. Ask about the empowerment at all levels of the organization. If those are reality, you know that this company or the leader of this company clearly has the ability to observe and adjust. It's number 1 factor. The second universal factor is resilience. I'm an investor. I want to make sure that those people, they're going to be ready to go there and die trying to get my investment where it is supposed to be. And again, I'm going to give you two stories, not three, two. The first one is another of our investment. It's called Wazoku. It's another software as a service company. No. I'm not going to take the 3 minutes because I've been waiting yesterday for 2 hours and I've been giving my spot to somebody else. So no, I'll finish my presentation. Thank you. It's another 5 minutes anyway. So resilience. Simon founded a company called Wazoku. And Wazoku is the digital idea box. So it helps people, the tagline is, we make sure the right project find the right people. And Simon was going through Series A again, and he had met this person who said, listen, I invest, but actually I'm going to come up as a syndicate, and I'm going to have other people coming and investing with me. And it was, yes, great, I don't have to go around. I have one investor that's bringing others. That's the perfect case when you're a startup, right? Overnight, the guy said, I'm not investing anymore. So overnight, Simon went from, I've closed my series as almost to I have no one. Simon took his car, took his phone, and he went and visited every one of the syndicate people, or the supposed to be syndicated people, and asked them and pushed the deals directly to them. And in the span of 2 weeks, he's actually closed the deal and didn't lose the Series A. He would have died trying to make sure this money was on the bank account of the company to sustain the growth. In the interest of time, I'm not going to give you the second stories, but I'm going to go straight to the third point, which is ability to inspire and influence. And at the end of the day, it's all about who you work, how this person can make you want to go above and beyond the call of duty, to get things delivered, to get things done. And that, how do you assess it, is really by really looking at the entire dynamics of a leadership team or a founder and the executive team. It's really about making sure you don't have a key man risk. So if this person goes away, the entire company falls through. It's about looking and observing, again, the founders in situation to make sure there is a knowledge sharing, there is an empowerment sharing, there is a chemistry in there. And this is not tangible. This is how you feel with this, and not only with that, when you meet the people, when you meet the founders. So, to conclude, what do we have to take away from that? Well, 5 things. First of all, leadership was, is, and always will be or should be a hard criteria for investment. It is about the people. It's not about the number. If you add the right people, you always get the right number. Second, leadership is a product of the environment. And what is interesting for me in here is, we talk about leadership in a lot of different ways, but we have this preconceived vision of what leadership is. And it comes from 100 years of supremacy of American economy. And we tend to copy and paste what a good leader in the US over the rest of the world. It's not correct. Leadership is a product of the environment, and my personal belief and my personal commitment is to help developing and finding the African leadership. From a corporate perspective, because obviously from a political perspective, you guys already have plethora of examples from Mandela to Habib Bourguiba or Leopold Senghor, the Senegal person. I always don't remember the name. Third thing is about observing and adjusting. Fourth thing is about capacity to influence. And maybe the most important thing is about resilience. So I'm going to conclude now. Dorothy, you're not going to have to throw me out of the stage. On one thing, Peter said it's the start of a new cycle. And everything is about cycle. Over the last 2 years, there's something we all have seen. We're moving from an investor product-driven type of market to, in my mind, an investee-driven type of market. Startups, companies, they don't want a big PE coming in saying, you know, I'm going to do this and that, I'm going to restructure, I'm going to get to the multiple of double digits multiple starting with the 2 if possible, and in 3 years I'm out. They want people that are going to be there through hard times, good times. They want people who are going to be sources of business opportunities, sources of advices, sources of leadership. So as much as you think at times you have the upper hand because you are actually assessing other people's leadership, be very, very, very aware that they are also assessing your own leadership. Thank you very much, and now you can go for lunch.